From Ozarks First, you're watching Color 10 News at 10.
Thanks for joining us tonight. A police chase in Springfield ending with a tow truck driver in custody. The Greene County Sheriff's Office tells Color 10 they responded to an accident in which the suspect left the scene in an affordable towing tow truck. Carissa Codell is live tonight, and Carissa, you were there when that driver was taken into custody.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. The chase ended on Kansas Expressway near Walnut, and then the suspect was taken into custody and brought here to the Greene County Jail. Now, witnesses tell me they saw the affordable towing truck driving erratically after not pulling over for police.
I did my best to try to get him stopped.
Christy Engel, owner of Affordable Towing, says she was notified of the driver from people calling Affordable's dispatch line.
And the safety for the people of the Ozarks is my #1 priority, and that's what I work for. And I'm sorry this happened.
Engel says she tried calling the driver herself and says she couldn't get him to stop.
I tried to make contact with the driver, couldn't make contact with the driver. Pinged his location, pinged the truck, tried to figure out where he was at.
Police used spike strips to stop the truck. Engel says the driver was not supposed to be operating a truck today.
He was off today, he's not working today, and he did not have our permission to be in this particular tow truck.
The sheriff's office says the driver's actions strongly indicate he was under the influence of a controlled substance. To those who witnessed the pursuit, Engel says she's sorry the driver put others in danger.
That I apologize that the driver was acting crazy, and we were doing everything in our power to try to get him to stop and pull over, and I apologize for if they felt that they put him in any kind of danger.
And the driver was taken into custody without incident, and the owner tells me that driver will most likely be fired from Affordable Towing. Reporting live in Greene County, I'm Carissa Codell, Color 10 News.
All right, now our first look at weather at 10. What a fantastic evening for outdoor plans or even just running errands with the car windows down. Jamie Warner told us this week's weather would be ideal for late August. No argument here, Jamie.
And open window weather is back, Steve. We are looking at a long stretch of really nice weather that'll take us all the way through the rest of this week. So if you haven't been able to enjoy the weather the last couple of days, maybe your off days or Wednesday, Thursday, we've still got some great weather in store for you. Outside right now, mostly clear skies. For temperatures, you can see they've already slipped. These are dew points I'm showing you. This is why it feels so nice outside with dew points in the 60s. Temperatures at this hour have gotten into the upper 60s in places up near Lake of the Ozarks. 74 right now in Springfield, 72 in Monette. Your Tuesday forecast, simply terrific. It looks like we start off in the low 60s. We will find sunny skies during the morning hours, giving way to a few clouds in the afternoon. Afternoon highs up near 86. So we managed to stay away from the 90s, and it looks like we're going to keep this streak going through Friday. But heat will return this upcoming holiday weekend. We'll show you just how hot it will get coming up, Steve.
All right, Jamie. 8 people have been arrested for various offenses after a downtown brawl Saturday night. The charges include resisting arrest, obstructing a city officer, and unlawful use of a weapon. All available officers were called out to the scene for a fight, and while they were on hand, additional fights broke out. Police say one of the suspects broke a window in a police vehicle and bottles were thrown at officers. The disruptions also made it difficult for emergency personnel to get to a person suffering a medical episode downtown. Dozens of new laws are now in effect in Missouri. It is now illegal to hold your phone or to text, call, or scroll social media while behind the wheel. Another new statute lifts restrictions on advanced practice registered nurses. Previously, they needed a physician within 75 miles to diagnose or evaluate patients without a doctor signing off.
There's a lot of things we realized during COVID. We waived almost over 600, I think 600 regulations. And what you really found out is the vast majority of them shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Missouri is also now one of the latest states to exempt federal broadband grants from state income taxes. The state is also moving forward with banning gender-affirming care for minors, which bans doctors from prescribing puberty blockers or hormone treatments. Other new laws include requiring transgender athletes to play in the sports team that matches the sex on their birth certificate, expanding Medicaid coverage for new moms from 60 days to up to 1 year, and 911 dispatchers will now be considered first responders, opening up additional resources and mental health services. 60 years ago today, Martin Luther King Jr. uttered the famous words, "I have a dream." Today, a new generation gathered to honor the call. Rebecca Brown reports.
Celebrate the life and the icon that is Dr. King.
I have a dream.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his I Have a Dream speech at the 1963 March on Washington. 4 words that generations after are still trying to live up to.
King calls for unity, economic actions, boycotts, and nonviolent protests, while challenging the United States to live up to its ideals.
But one day, this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
Dr. King with the call of action that would soon light up a fire in many.
We recognize that Dr. King left and there was still work undone. And so this is our opportunity to challenge ourselves to pick up the torch and to continue to carry on the work that Dr. King left behind for us.
For political activist Dr. Cornel West, King left behind a legacy money can't buy.
I'm talking about something moral and spiritual. It's not just financial. Moral and spiritual, the kind of human being he was, and the love that flowed through his soul to us.
For others like Monique Jones, King was a leader that paved the way for her and others.
It means a lot for me that I'm in this space to be honored where he stood and walked before me and opened doors for me, and hopefully the things that I do in this community open doors for the next generation.
A generation full of equality and justice for all.
When I think about the work that Dr. King did, he was inclusive. He sought to include people of all communities, not just blacks and African Americans, but Dr. King was about equity and justice for all people.
When we look at the love that Dr. King had for people, and not just black people, but people as a whole, and we see that baton passed on from generation to generation to generation, and that's a part of why we can still celebrate his legacy today.
Rebecca Brown reporting. The Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission hosted a 60th anniversary event today commemorating the March on Washington. Hundreds of students from across the state flocked to the state capitol. Dr. King's famous I Have a Dream speech was recited. Event organizers say the youth who came out represent the future. Still to come tonight at 10, less than a year after Hurricane Ian devastated the Gulf Coast of Florida, another tropical storm is bearing down. What the state's governor is saying, right after Jamie's 7-day forecast.
And it's a 7-day forecast that I think we're very happy to see and experience, especially after last week's week of heat and humidity. But heat will be making a return in time for the Labor Day weekend. We'll get that in your forecast after this break.
You're watching Color 10 News, Ozarks First, with Steve Savard, Bailey Stroll, weather with Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner, and sports with Dan Lucy. This is Color 10 News at 10.